Mario and mushrooms, name a more iconic duo. Yeah, okay, walk right into that one. Hilarious introduction aside, fact of the matter is that mushrooms are easily the Mario series' most iconic items, so it's no surprise a staggering amount of them have been introduced over the decades. You've seen the title of the video, I'm gonna lay them all out for you, so I suggest we start simple and then slowly descend until we find ourselves in the trenches of the Mario universe. Which means we begin with the essential mushrooms, like the iconic Super Mushroom. Its power is almost always turning small Mario into normal-sized Mario, or Super Mario if we're being technical. Do keep in mind that while the appearance of the Super Mushroom is identical to the mushrooms from the Mario Kart series, they are not the same. These are dash mushrooms that you can apparently stuff in the exhaust pipe of your cart or whatever it is you do when you use these to get a big boost. But there's always bigger, like the Golden Dash Mushroom, also from Mario Kart, that allows the use of constant boosts until it runs out. It has a little crown on the top to set it apart from the regular Golden Mushroom, which appears in several games, most fittingly New Super Mario Bros. 2. But it can also be found as a collectible in Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, and it's a healing item in several Mario and Luigi games. Speaking of New Super Mario Bros., the first entry in that series of games also introduced two new mushrooms, the first being the Mega Mushroom. I think it's fair to say this is the more famous of the two, seeing as it was used constantly in the promo for the game and it has since reappeared in several spin-offs like Mario Kart, the sports games and Mario and Luigi titles. The Mini Mushroom, its counterpart, has definitely not seen the same level of coverage, but it has reappeared in other entries in the new Super Mario Bros. Games. I think it goes without saying, but these two mushrooms also play around with Mario's size, making him either gargantuan or very tiny. While the 2D titles have always been proven fertile grounds for the growth of new mushrooms, as we have even more originating from there coming up, the 3D Super Mario games have been lagging behind. In fact, only the two Galaxy games have introduced new mushrooms, all others rely on items of different categories. Galaxy 1 especially was big on shrooms, as it introduced a total of 4, which is among the highest in the entire Mario franchise. First is the Bee Mushroom, which is actually a bit of an atypical mushroom. Normally, when items put Mario in an animalistic suit, like it does here with a bee, the item is a suit, think the frog suit or the penguin suit. But instead, in order to become a busy bee, Mario needs a bee mushroom. Shuffle a couple of letters and we're at the next one, the Boo Mushroom. This transforms Mario into the famous ghostly enemy, allowing him to pass through walls and float. It honestly surprises me a little that we haven't seen this one return. Maybe it's considered canon that it can only be found on other planets, who knows. Alongside these two, Galaxy also introduced us to the Spring Mushroom, one of the lesser used main series mushrooms. Only 4 galaxies across both games wrap Mario in a spring, making it highly situational and rare to use. What all these galactic mushrooms have in common, in my opinion at least, is a killer design. All of them are very unique and immediately recognizable, making the fact they barely reappear all the more surprising really. There is one exception to these compliments though, which is the Life Mushroom, the design of which looks a little cheap. It's all red with yellow stars on it, matching the color scheme of Mario's life meter, which it doubles when obtained. And before we return to Earth, one final extraterrestrial item, the Rock Mushroom. This one is exclusive to Galaxy 2 and only appears in 3 galaxies in total. When obtained, it turns Mario into a giant rolling boulder, crushing anything in its path. Unlike its galactic brethren, this mushroom actually has reappeared, albeit in cameo form. Ever since the Booster Course Pass, the Rock Mushroom is the symbol for the Rock Cup in Mario Kart 8. Before we fully descend down to ground level again, now might be the best time to mention the mushroom that allows for flight, the Propeller Mushroom from New Super Mario Bros. Wii. This one was originally a suit during development, but was eventually made into a mushroom, allowing it to appear in this video. While the Propeller Mushroom has only reappeared in Mario Maker, as you'd expect, its power has frequently reappeared, in the form of a propeller block as opposed to a mushroom. Maybe the developers had second thoughts about ever making it a mushroom. Alright, on to the newest shroom on my list, the most recent addition at the time of this video, the Drill Mushroom, originating in Mario Bros. Wonder. This one has definitely been overshadowed by the Elephant Fruit, which is of course not a mushroom, but despite that, it has already appeared in more than one game, as it was also added to Super Mario Run on smartphones. It allows characters to drill into the ground, a power that originally appeared as an item in Super Mario Galaxy. It's the Propeller Mushroom in reverse, if you will. Before we dive into specific sub-series of the Mario franchise, we do have one more iconic item to cover, being the 1-Up mushroom. Instantly recognizable with its green coloring, I don't think I need to waste more words on this one, we all know what it's good for. But do you also know extra lives don't end with a simple 1-Up? They are among the rarest mushrooms in Mario history, but a 2-Up, 3-Up and even a 5-Up mushroom all exist. They hail from Mario vs Donkey Kong on GBA, but were replaced by their iconic brother in the Nintendo Switch remake. They can be obtained by completing the bonus minigames at the end of levels, which grant extra lives as reward. And these extra lives are not betrayed with multiple 1-Up shrooms like on Switch, but with unique mushrooms in their own color. There's purple for 2, blue for 3 and gold for 5. Considering they didn't even reappear in the remake of their own game, I think it's fair to say we will never see these mushrooms again, but that doesn't mean they aren't part of the mushroom family tree. Speaking of subspecies of Mario mushrooms, another distinct category is mushrooms that hunt Mario down and hurt him when touching him, as opposed to having beneficial effects. The most well known of these is undoubtedly the poison mushroom, which first appeared in the Lost levels. Usually it's purple, but it has appeared in some games resembling its super cousin a lot more, like Super Smash Bros. It has also appeared in the Paper Mario series and even Luigi's Mansion, which is pretty rare for these items. It also effectively returned for Super Mario Maker 2, but it was redesigned and renamed, now known as the Rotten Mushroom. Unlike their poisonous brothers, rotten mushrooms can also jump, making them even more annoying pests to flee from. Their appearance is also a lot more ghoulish, which ties into a group of similar mushrooms originating from Super Paper Mario. These are the ghoul and zombie shrooms, both effectively poison mushrooms of varying strength, donning a Halloween costume. This game also features the ghost shroom, which is an item that can be used to damage enemies. The way it's used implies it's sort of a corrupted normal mushroom, possibly by a ghost like the name implies. We already briefly touched on it, so let's move on to the unique mushrooms of the two Mario Maker titles. The original game has a new yet familiar shroom, the Big Mushroom, which just makes Mario large. In a different way from the Mega Mushroom, I guess? Maybe they had trouble recoloring the sprite with so little to work with, I'm not sure. Next up is the appropriately titled Weird Mushroom, which turns Mario into this weird lanky form that is supposed to resemble Luigi. Similarly to its effect, the genus is also lanky and thin. It was slated to appear in the sequel, but ended up getting cut before release, just like the Mystery Mushroom, arguably the coolest mushroom in the entire franchise. This transforms Mario into what is technically Costume Mario, but really just the appearance of one of the over 150 different costumes. These are a wild collection of crossover sprites, ranging from Waluigi to Pikachu to Hello Kitty, Hatsune Miku and the Japanese metal band Baby Metal. Unfortunately, like I said, this didn't reappear in the second title, which did introduce another very cool mushroom, the SMB2 mushroom. This item turns Mario into his version from that game, along with his moveset, meaning super high jumps and picking up enemies over your head. Onto the RPG titles, which unlike the other games feature health bars, and so, like any good RPG, need health items. And no matter if we're talking the Paper Mario series, Mario and Luigi series, or Legend of the Seven Stars, all these games feature mushrooms as potions. And the most basic of those is the mushroom? Just a regular mushroom. No additive, no powers, just a bang average mushroom. The original, if you will. If you need a lot of HP replenished, you need to shift your eyes to the Ultra Mushroom, a green variant that resembles the 1-Up. Instead of extra lives, it restores a ton of hit points. Exclusively in the Mario and Luigi series, there is another tier above this, the Max Mushroom. They may be identical to many other mushrooms, red and white, but their healing capabilities are something special, as they can restore entire health bars to full strength. Another genus unique to this sub-series is the Vacuum Shroom, the item that sets up the plot for Bowser's inside story. After all, it allows Bowser to inhale everything like a powerful vacuum, like he does with Mario, Luigi, Peach and many others throughout the game. Considering we never see this shroom or its effect again, I think it's fair to say it's pretty rare, and I doubt we'll ever find out where Fawful got it from. Next up is the perfect segue into the next sub-series, as we are looking at a mushroom that can only be found in Mario & Luigi Paper Jam. I'm talking about the double 1-Up mushroom, a sort of Siamese twin version of the iconic item. This is distinctly not a 2-Up mushroom, because it doesn't give one person 2 extra lives, it gives 2 people 1 extra life. Which means you can use it to restore both Mario and Luigi at once. perfect for that series, not so much for Paper Mario, another hotbed for unique mushroom species. I'd say the most well known is the life mushroom, not to be confused with the item of the same name for Mario Galaxy, which has hearts on the top instead of spots. Life mushrooms are literal lifesavers, as they automatically heal Mario or his partners back to life after the HP count reaches 0. An essential item, really. Much less so is the dried mushroom, an item that feels like it's seconds away from becoming a rotten mushroom and so only heals a meager 1 HP. That said, it is of great worth to Professor Frankly, as the ending of the 1000 Year Door reveals. This game also features the Volt mushroom, which debuted in the original on Nintendo 64. Black with lightning bolts on top, this mushroom causes the user to become electrified, meaning anyone that touches them suffers an electric shock as a result. It's definitely not life mushroom levels of useful, but it's not bad. The 1000 Year Door is also the only game where we encounter the slow mushroom. This is a healing item that has a staggered effect, as it heals a few HP every turn as opposed to at once. Not gonna lie, not a fan of this one, don't mind it being confined to one game. As we move further along in the series, we come across the flashy and shiny mushrooms that were introduced in Sticker Star and later made a surprise reappearance in Origami King. I say surprising because both were stickers in the first game and simply healed Mario, which is hardly a unique effect. Yet, they returned for Origami King, now as a sort of glass-like mushrooms that very much do not look edible. And finally, for the Paper Mario series at least, we have the Shriveled Mushroom, a unique item also from Origami King. Mario finds this unusable shroom in Whispering Woods and can toss it into a spring to turn it into a regular old mushroom. It's the modern version of the dried mushroom, I guess you could say. And then we arrive at another spin-off series, Mario Party. Especially the older Mario parties were filled to the brim with strange and unique items, some of which were new species of mushrooms that have been long lost to time. Until now, of course. Meet the Reverse Mushroom, which will cause players to walk into the opposite direction after throwing their dice block. It's apparently the favorite item of Donkey Kong, which may explain why we've never seen it since. Bro is just keeping them all to himself on his own private island. Next up is arguably the most bizarre mushroom of all, the Bowser suit. Yeah, remember all that talk about suits not being mushrooms? Well, I was wrong. This is both a suit and a mushroom at the same time. Because while almost every Mario Party features this item as a suit, the fourth entry had it take on the form of a mushroom instead. It's a pretty cool design, I'd say, a bit of a shame it was quickly abandoned and never even received official artwork. The same applies to two other mushrooms from this game, the Mega and Mini mushrooms. And no, you're not having a deja vu, these are actually the precursors for the shrooms that would appear in New Super Mario Bros., albeit with a completely different design. What never returned, however, were the two super variants of these items, which had a strong translucent coloring and allowed the user to roll one extra dice block. While the redesigns are definitely improvements, I'd say, I do like the pacifier for the mini mushroom. It's a nice touch. It gives it some character that the modern version of the item kinda lacks in my opinion. The final mushroom originating from the Mario Party games is another interesting one, the Metal Mushroom. Metal powers are nothing new in Mario, but usually a metal cap is required instead of a mushroom. And to make matters even more confusing, this mushroom can only be found inside an orb, the item system used in Mario Party 6 and 7. As such, there's no official artwork for it, but it's pretty obvious its design is just a metallic recoloring of a regular mushroom. Before we sink into true niche territory, there are two more mushrooms to cover from relatively well-known games. First is the Invincibility Mushroom, which appears in Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. This is essentially Toad's answer to a superstar, which is made all the more clear by the rainbow effect found on the item itself. This item only appears when you lose too many lives in one level, meaning it's not just a superstar, it's effectively also the equivalent of the white Tanuki suit from Mario 3D Land. Next is what I would consider the most unknown mushroom in all the main series Mario games, the question mark Kinoko. Kinoko is Japanese for mushroom, so I guess question mark mushroom would be the real name. Only a minuscule portion of those of you watching will have ever seen this, let alone remember ever seeing it. This genus only appears in the Super Mario All-Stars version of Mario Bros. 3, and only in the battle game found in the main menu. They're red mushrooms with a white question mark on top that will grant Mario or Luigi a random effect when obtained. Funnily enough, their name in Japanese is identical to the mystery mushroom from Mario Maker, so maybe this item is actually intended to be the same one. And after all, they do both have question marks on them, so there is a connection. And then we arrive at the final 6 mushrooms of the Mario series. They all originate from a sub-series most of us have never even had the chance to play, let alone be familiar with their designs and effects. I'm talking about Mario Kart GP, the arcade-only Mario Kart games that are crossovers with the Pac-Man series. These games introduce new types of mushrooms as items that have never been seen before or after, and will probably never be seen again either, so consider this an exclusive look, I guess. First up is the Sick Mushroom, definitely not named that because its design is so awesome. It's one of Toad's special items, and is effectively this game's version of a green shell, although it is only able to be fired backwards. Like many of these shrooms, no official artwork exists, so I'm afraid you'll have to make do with these rips from the games. Another item from Toad's arsenal in this title is the Find Mushroom, once again not called that because its design is so awesome. This mushroom basically stores any damage caused to your card, like a flat tire. Yeah, that can happen in these games. And that's not the only unique effect to be found here, as there's also the Absorbing Mushroom, which causes a vortex to appear around your vehicle that sucks up any incoming items and hands them to the driver. Shame this mushroom doesn't follow the other naming schemes, because this design is actually really cool. It's a great color choice with the ominous blue. The rest of the new mushroom species from the Mario Kart arcade titles are really just stand-ins for items we already know from the mainline games. Like the Slimy Mushroom, which turns the player's card into slime, allowing them to pass through racers and obstacles just like a Boo does. You've also got the Invisible Mushroom, which might at first sight seem to do the same thing as a Boo as well, but it's really more of a star, just a lot less flashy. The design is quite nice though. And finally we have the Heavy Mushroom, which turns the driver and card into metal, allowing them to drive over other racers just like the Mega Mushroom does in Mario Kart Wii. And with that, we have officially covered all 50 plus mushrooms in the Mario franchise, until Nintendo decides to add a new one in the future. I doubt it will take too long, to be honest. If you made it this far, thank you for sticking with me, and if you enjoyed it, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel to stay updated on all my future Mario content. For now, enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope to see you again soon.